We are slaying monsters.
Don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you, darling.
Yeah, so apparently we don't know how to pronounce anything in German, which is not a surprise. Not breaking news, everybody. We had a listener write in and be like, yo.
I am so sorry to all of our German listeners.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Or German-centric, those who are, around Germans regularly. The cringes that were probably going on, we're deeply sorry for the cringes that happened. So yeah, gerbils is not pronounced gerbils or gerbils. It has more of like a g sound. So it's like gubbles. I don't know. And that's probably wrong too. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Germans for this. And then there's...
Yeah, I'm sorry that I pronounced the name of one of the high-ranking Nazis wrong. Well, I'm sorry to all of the Nazis that I offended by mispronouncing. No, I get it. Like we try to be accurate. We try to be accurate.
And we fail often, and that's okay. Also, Joseph is Joseph.
I'm pretty sure I said that one, actually.
Joseph.
I'm pretty sure I said that one.
Okay, all right. We'll have to go back into the archives and determine if that is true or not.
Did I say Joseph or did I say Joseph? SlayingMonstersPodcast@gmail.com.
And then the last but not least one, which I think is the funniest one, is that we all apparently said Volkswagen, which is funny because obviously we know better. It's Volkswagen.
Which I guess is actually like Volkswagen,
yeah,
right?
Yes.
Like Wagen,
yeah,
with a V instead of a W. But even in the Americanized way of saying it, it's still Volkswagen.
Yeah, you said Volts again, which is, if you think about it, the way that the English, tongue is, it's much easier for us to say Volkswagen because it flows better for our English American tongues, right? Volkswagen is harder to say. That's why we all defaulted to that. And then, of course, they pointed out the etymology of Volkswagen, and that is Volks is people and wagon is car, the people's car. I know this. I love etymology. It's a huge interest of mine, actually. I'm a total nerd. But I thought that was a fun fact. And if we say Volkswagen again, please know it's not intentional. It's just because we're lazy tongues.
I don't know if there is an electric version of the Volkswagen, but if there is, it should totally be called the Volkswagen.
Totally, man. You take that. You can take that Volkswagen.
That's for you. Yeah,
for you.
Yeah, VW. That's you. The VW Volkswagen, the electric version. There
we should just say VW.
VW. Yeah. The problem is we got away from the bus, which was truly the superior Volkswagen anyway.
The bus was superior?
Yeah, VW bus.
I guess so. Yeah, it's your opinion. More of a Jetta person, but
Well, anyway, for all of our German listeners who were upset with our pronunciation, I would just like to say, Es tut mir said lead. Es tut mir said lead. So please accept my
writing
apology.
the wrong here. I'm sure no Germans will be mad about that.
It comes directly from Google Translate, and I didn't even bother to look up how it's supposed to sound. So there you go.
I did try to correct him, but he does not. He just can't be taught. And that's okay. Well, we got this Pennsylvania Dutch boy across the way from me. His name is Matty J.
Hey.
I am EJ, and we are slaying monsters. And we are sans Katie.
Yes, Katie is on special assignment at Loch Ness.
Yes.
This month.
She's swimming with Nessie right now.
Yeah, Katie will be back. She'll be back for our next series, but she's sitting out for this one. But EJ and I will soldier ahead without her because it's time for another Fortean Roundup, and we got a big month here, EJ. A lot of stuff happened this month, including our top story. This is a follow-up, a very macabre follow-up, because Annabelle the doll may have taken the life of her handler, Dan Rivera, while on tour.
Now, we know that's not true. However, some people are saying that it could be true, and that's silly.
Yeah. I mean, so we had previously reported on one of our last Forteans, Annabelle is currently on tour. The tour's called The Devil's on the Run. That's in promotion of the new Conjuring movie, Last Rites, which is due out in September. She had previously been blamed for burning down the Nottoway plantation and the jailbreak that happened at Orleans Parish, both in Louisiana when she was in New Orleans. But at the time, we just kind of laughed everything off, and we said, oh man, she's coming to Gettysburg. We got to watch out when she comes to Gettysburg. And in fact, that was actually a bit of a prophecy, because in the latest tragedy that happened on July 13th, Dan Rivera was found dead in his hotel room in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. He was 54, a U.S. Army veteran, and a protege of Lorraine Warren, the famed medium. News outlets immediately jumped on the story and claimed, or at least alleged, that Annabelle herself was responsible for Rivera's death.
Yep, but according to EMTs, she was not even in the room when they came in.
Right. Which makes sense, because she was probably on display at the Soldiers' Orphanage homestead in Gettysburg, where she was being shown. The EMTs have not disclosed the cause of death. I guess the coroner, it wouldn't be the EMTs. The coroner has not disclosed the cause of death. Autopsies can take a while. They were saying something like a couple of months before we might actually know what it was. But his family did say that it was a natural death.
I thought they said it was heart failure of some kind, like a heart attack.
Do you have confirmation of that? I couldn't find that anywhere.
Okay.
I had heard that through the grapevine.
Oh, okay. Well, then we can't say that for sure. Then.
But yeah, I had not. I had heard no confirmation. It might be. I'm not sure where the line gets broken down, where cause of death being heart failure isn't necessarily like what caused the heart failure is the actual cause of death. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense, you know, like the thing that made you stop living is heart failure, but we don't know what caused the heart failure. So it might have been that too. Annabelle herself is a Raggedy Ann doll and was one of many alleged haunted objects that were collected by the self-proclaimed demonologist Ed Warren and his wife Lorraine during their tenure as paranormal investigators. The Warrens claimed that the doll had been possessed by the spirit of a little girl named Annabelle, who could animate her stuffed form and bring misfortune to all around her. This was, of course, complete bullshit. I mean, look, haunted objects are fun, but Annabelle isn't cursed, and she doesn't have the power to kill or burn down buildings or free prisoners or any of that.
Or take down our 911 system.
Oh, yeah, that was the other thing.
That happened too.
Right, yeah, because the 911 system in Pennsylvania went down for like, I don't know. Well, they never told us when it came back up. They were just like, hey, 911's down, and then they never gave us a sign that it was back.
I know.
Apparently people were calling 911 when it came back up, checking to see if it worked or not, which I think is really funny. And they ultimately had to issue a statement that was like, do not call 911 just to check and see if it's working.
Yeah.
But the Warrens were complete bullshit. And we've known this for a very, very long time. I think, you know, you can make the argument that Lorraine Warren was... At least she believed that she had powers, I think. I think that she thought she was a legitimate medium. I've seen her do a lot. We saw her in Paranormal State and, you know, television appearances recently, stuff like that. Recently meaning within the last, 15 years. Mm-hmm. But Ed was absolutely a shyster. Ed completely manipulated people into believing that he had some type of supernatural experience. He called himself a demonologist, as if that's a degree or something that you can even earn. And he was responsible for kind of the resurgence of the paranormal interest in the 60s, 70s, 80s. But he took part in faking the Amityville horror incident. He was part of the Enfield poltergeist scenario, which was completely bullshit. And he had been proven at various junctures to just be lying and making shit up.
Right. And, you know, it's a speculation, but I really think that he totally hoodwinked his wife, too, and made her believe that she also had powers and that she was capable of all these things. And it just sort of fed into her own ego and naivete and you know, made her believe that she had powers. And over time, I don't know. She was just she struck me always as a very simple and vulnerable person.
She seems sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she seems sweet.
Yeah, but vulnerable in the sense that she could be easily manipulated by somebody like Ed.
Yes. And, you know, let's be clear. Ed manipulated everybody.
Yeah, you don't think he's
around
going to
him.
stop at his wife?
Yeah.
He's going to manipulate. A manipulator manipulates all.
Right. And, you know, she was also a moneymaker for him because Ed can't just go around from house to house and claim that he's a demonologist and have people take him seriously. She was the proof. You know, he showed up. She did her little walk around, talked about the spirits that she felt in the house and all of that stuff. And then Ed got the opportunity to say, well, you do this, that, and the other thing. And then you can, you know, clear your house or whatever. Mm-hmm. One of the other things that Ed got really good at was publicity and making himself into more of like a character than he actually was, if that kind of makes sense. And that, in all honesty, it's continuing to be done by Tony Spira, who is now inherited their institute and is in charge of these movies like The Conjuring and that sort of thing. But you take Amityville and the Enfield poltergeist and some of these other things. And a lot of times they didn't even really do big investigations of them. But whenever you look into these stories, the stories make it seem like Ed was deeply involved in Amityville and deeply involved in Enfield, when really they showed up like once, fucked around for a bit, and then left.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Amityville, for some reason, Amityville becomes synonymous with them. But the truth is, after the Lutzes left, there was like a Channel 5. It was Channel 5 News came to Amityville and brought the Warrens, and they like walked through the house and did a little like you know, what you see in any paranormal show. They did a little walkthrough. She sent some stuff, I guess. And then Ed was like, yep, this house is haunted. It's all full of evil. And then that was it. But they weren't involved with the Lutzes. They weren't involved with Jay Anson, at least not in any part of the story. It was the same deal with the Enfield poltergeist as well, which was the famous possession. You know, that was the original Conjuring, the really cool one, right? Or Conjuring 2 was Enfield. The second Conjuring was Enfield.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, okay, well, whatever. but yeah, Guy Playfair, who's a parapsychologist and investigated Enfield, he investigated not only Enfield, but also the Warrens' involvement in Enfield, and famously said that they turned up once at the event. And Ed realized that a lot of money could be made on the case. And that was the one that they like cut their teeth on. The one that put them on the map as paranormal investigators.
I feel like it's so unconscionable to make money off of people's gullibility. I think it's so terrible. It takes no skill, just a little con. It's like all these people are just capitalizing on naivety and gullibility, and it's just like, God, you guys don't have any credentials. It's just, you're just making money hand over fist, just lying to people over. I know this is like oldest story in the world. Everybody's been doing it for millennia, but it's like, for some reason, to me, this bothers me on some special level. Like this guy, Tony Spira, I guess his name is.
Yeah, Tony Spira.
He like gets to go like work with like Hollywood just because he played his cards right and got in with Ed at the right time. Like, there's no...
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think that Tony Spira exactly... He's the son-in-law. So I don't know that he like played his cards right. I'm not sure that he manipulated his way into marrying. No, it's just nepotism.
So it's even worse though.
Yeah, it's just nepotism.
It's like everything, it's all a fucking lie.
Yeah.
And these people are making millions of dollars. I don't know about Tony, but like,
I mean, I would not be surprised if he was. I'm sure that Tony Spira has some type of connection to all of these movies, like financial connection to all of these movies. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if he was making quite a bit of money off of them and
so
off of
easy.
these lies.
it's so easy to lie.
And then you depict them as these. I mean, look, and it's Patrick Wilson and
Vera Farmiga?
Vera Farmiga.
Farmiga?
Farmiga.
Oh, jeez, I don't know.
Fucking up other pronunciations now. But you have these beautiful people in place of, and nothing against Lorraine Warren, but
Lorraine is pretty. She's pretty.
Ed looked like Mr. Potato Head.
It's true.
Like Ed was a fucking ugly person.
Oh, come on.
He was a.
There's
he
someone
was,
for
though.
everyone, Matt.
I mean, I guess so. But you know, Ed was not an attractive man, and then they're like, "Hey, it's Patrick Wilson." I'm like, "You guys didn't even try."
But it's Hollywood.
Yeah, but there are other people that you could have cast as him. You know who would have been really great, actually?
Who?
The guy from Love and Death.
You mean Jesse Plemons?
Is that his name? Jesse Plemons? Yeah, Jesse Plemons. Jesse Plemons would have
He would have
been
killed
great.
that.
Would have been great because he's actually he's unconventional. He's
attractive, but he's unconventional.
Yeah, but he's closer to the look of Ed Warren than Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson is just a dreamboat, really.
Yeah. Ed was not a dreamboat. Also, you know, they're missing that whole other subplot that involves their underage sexual advance.
Oh,
But,
yeah,
you know.
they just conveniently skipped over that. Maybe that'll be in the other movies when it's okay to be a pedophile. when they completely just, burn the Epstein files and pedophilia is okay again.
Yeah, that time is coming. Slaying Monsters is not a political podcast. I don't know that any of the accusations of statutory rape are confirmed. I will say that. I don't think that any of the accusations of statutory rape have been confirmed. It's all allegations.
Yeah, okay. So alleged.
Alleged. I will say that. However, Ed Warren was not a demonologist because demonologists aren't real, and Ed Warren was barely a paranormal investigator who just kind of showed up at places where he knew his name was going to get out there.
I think it's interesting that when things kind of get real for ghost hunters and ghost investigators, like let's just say when someone dies who is watching Annabelle.
Yeah.
They tend to back off and claim natural causes. They tend to get upset when people say, oh, it could be paranormal, but this is your job. And I think that if this same story was set in the 1890s and there was a doll of Annabelle, and like let's just say Annabelle liked doll and somebody died watching her or whatever, I bet you money that these investigators would be all over it investigating it today, like in 2025. They'd be all over that very mysterious circumstance. But because it's so fresh and close and near to us, the paranormal investigator community who might have known this man are very much like, don't you dare say it's paranormal.
Right.
So there's a very interesting double standard going on that I think is just worth noting.
You bring up a good point because I noticed that a lot of people, Zach Bagans was one of them. I think Jason from the Ghost Hunters all kind of came out and were like, hey, leave the family alone. We're not going to treat this as if it's paranormal. This is natural causes, all of that. Yeah.
And yet they're going into places constantly investigating recent murders. Like, I mean, there was one episode of Ghost Adventures I watched the other, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago or so, where there was a murder in California that was like in 2009, and they investigated that, and they said that was paranormal. And I'm like, so that's okay, but this is not. Is it because he's one of your own? I don't know.
It's interesting hypocrisy.
And that just kind of goes to show how made up all this is, because you can just sort of pick and choose what is paranormal and what isn't, as long as it suits you.
The thing that struck me about it is how Annabelle gets turned into a scapegoat for these things, because it's the causation fallacy, right? Correlation does not imply causation, that whole thing. Because just because two events happen near each other does not mean that they're related to each other. We had kale for dinner on the day that Dan Rivera died, but that doesn't imply that every time I eat kale, somebody dies, right?
Statistically, though, it's probably true.
I mean, yeah, well, sure. I guess that is true. But my action of eating the kale does not kill someone, you know? And that's basically what's being implied by Annabelle's curse. She ends up getting blamed for all of this stuff just because she's like vaguely around the area, but bad shit happens all the time. It doesn't have anything to do with Annabelle. She is next headed for the Maine Paranormal and Horror Convention in Augusta on September 6th and 7th. So keep an eye out, Maine.
Annabelle, don't you dare fuck with Maine. If you fuck with Maine, I will be up there.
I don't know. That's a challenge. What's who's the doll that you're not even supposed to say? You're not even supposed to talk about. He's the one.
Is it Robert the doll?
Robert the doll. Yeah.
You're not supposed to talk shit about Robert the doll.
Yeah, you're not supposed to talk shit about Robert the doll.
Probably not any of these dolls. I'm just telling her to step off Maine, okay?
Okay. So our next news item is straight out of like an episode of Tales from the Crypt. This is really cool. There was a ship docked with mysterious goo that has never been seen before. So this research vessel, the Blue Heron, docked in Cleveland earlier this month, and they were having propeller issues and they needed a dry dock for fixing. That's all standard procedure. That's not newsworthy. But the weirdness started when the captain, Wuerl Lee, spotted a strange substance on the rudder of his ship. Now, that would have been completely hidden if it wasn't in the process of being repaired, but they were able to see into some of the components that you wouldn't normally get access to, and they saw a, quote, tar-like substance oozing from the rudder post. Now, as luck would have it, Lee's ship was a research ship studying algae blooms. And so he's like an inquisitive dude. And he took a sample of the goo and threw it in the water to see if it would behave like oil and have kind of a sheen to it, but it didn't. So that means that it wasn't any kind of oil that would have been used in the propeller components. So he did the next logical thing. He tried to set it on fire.
Of course.
But it didn't burn. So now completely perplexed, he and the ship's marine superintendent, Doug Ricketts, sent a sample to the University of Minnesota in Duluth. And there it was studied by Cody Sheik, who is an associate professor of microbial ecology. Sheik gene sequenced it and determined that it was a new organism. Currently, no one knows what it is or where it came from. It's just a mysterious goo that was found attached to a rudder of a ship in Lake Erie. And Sheik named it appropriately Ship Goo 001.
It's just great. So it could be alien. It could have plopped down from Mars.
Yeah.
It could have developed over because of heated up waters.
It could be the evolution of some type of algae or something like that.
It could have been there forever.
Yeah, it could have been something that got contaminated by something inside the ship, and what the ship was doing, we don't really know.
I think it's an alien loogie.
I mean, I guess that theory is as good as anything else. The one thing, it was interesting, I noticed the ship had been dry docked and had repairs done on it before in, I think, 2017, it was a couple of years ago, and they didn't notice it there. So it wasn't something that was intrinsic to this ship. It was definitely picked up somewhere at some point.
Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, and we just have no idea what it is.
Well, they're going to have to find more samples of it and like maybe determine where it is. Like maybe it has a little home somewhere in the lake that can like, you know, like not like literal home, but like there's got to be an origin.
Right.
Or maybe it's all over the lake. I don't know. But
yeah, and
is it in other lakes? I don't know.
And maybe try to find out what environment it lives in, you know, is it too hot, too cold? Maybe maybe there were environmental factors associated with this that allowed it to grow because, I don't know, the water is a little bit warmer than it has been because of global warming or something like that. We don't know. We have no idea. So this is a story that we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on, because this is just wild. Mm-hmm. So studies of Ship Goo 001 will be ongoing. And it's, I guess, as long as it doesn't break out and start transforming people into murderous arachnoid alien creatures, we're probably okay.
Probably okay. I do want to eat a little bit of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that Captain Lee didn't, sample some.
He might have and just not told anybody.
Yeah,
Now
you
he's
probably
got
wouldn't.
powers.
Yeah. It does seem like that kind of thing, right? Yeah. This is very much you dry dock, you find this thing, you take a lick of it, and then all of a sudden it, I don't know, crawls into your ear and you can breathe underwater or something like that.
He becomes Ohio Man.
With
That's a superhero name.
With all the powers of Ohio.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's where it was found. So he becomes Ohio Man. He's going to save Cleveland, Matt. Listen, I like this. If I were him, I would have totally licked it a little bit and then waited for my powers to come. Matt, what would be your superpower if you licked Ship Goo 1? What would it be? Because I think it's like Marvel or the X-Men, where it's like it's like your dormant abilities, right, that come out.
I guess so. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm an X-Men fan, but I have no idea if that's true.
I mean, it could be.
What would be your power if it was like a dormant power that Ship Goo unleashed?
I don't know.
I think it would be eating cookies without getting sick, like eating every cookie.
Oh, well, yeah, that's Matter Eater Lad.
Oh, okay.
Who can consume any. Yeah. The Super Pika.
Yeah.
Yes. Super Pika.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You would just eat all the sweets and not get sick.
Yeah. I don't know. What would your power be?
I don't know.
I don't know. It would have to involve some type of frenzying. I see you as kind of like a little dervish running around.
Yeah, it would allow me to rage without any limitations. I could, I don't know, I could bust through walls. I could fly. I could do all the things that I wanted to do.
I don't think
and
you
not
could
tire.
fly.
I will want to fly though.
Okay, you can want to fly as much as you want, but you can't fly.
Okay. That's what you think. Who's making these rules?
Didn't you try to be Superman and jump off the stairs and found out that you couldn't fly?
I did. I jumped off the stairs. I was only 5. I wasn't 18, I swear. No, I was actually 5. I was a kid and I jumped off the stairs and I hurt myself. I was okay though. I did not fly. I was a big Superman fan. Also, the new Superman movie is awesome.
It's really incredible.
It's really good.
Yeah. It's a really, really well worth watching. Nicholas Hoult, holy fuck, dude, what a great Lex Luthor.
Yeah, and like I told Matt, the first Lex Luthor I actually wanted to fuck. So that's something.
I mean, sure.
That's an achievement. I don't know. I think he's absolutely amazing. And,
fantastic.
Oh, Superman.
Just
wonderful.
a great movie.
Great
Lots of
movie,
fun.
great cast. Mm-hmm. Everybody was perfect.
Yeah.
Off track. What's next?
Superman versus Ship Goo. All right, next we have a really weird one. Iranian officials claim that Israel used occult forces during their 12-day war. The history of Middle East politics is a little bit too complicated and expansive to get into right here on our Fortean, where we talk about the weird shit of the world. But Iran and Israel have been in a brewing conflict for years, partly due to concerns over Iran's nuclear capabilities and weapons development, and partly due to Israel's hostilities in Gaza as part of their ongoing war with Palestine. On July 13th, Israel launched a series of attacks on Iranian installations. Iran responded with missile attacks, entering the two countries into a brief period of conflict. Within days, the U.S. stepped in and backed Israel, launching their own B-2 Spirit bombers. 12 days later, running low on supplies, Trump and Netanyahu agreed to a ceasefire. Apparently, they'd only negotiated with their own side, since Iran's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Abbas Araghchi, said he wasn't aware of the treaty, but agreed to uphold it anyway. After less than 2 weeks of conflict, the war was over. But now, senior Iranian officials are coming out with strange news. Abdullah Ganji, an activist and former editor of the official newspaper of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, claims that Israel was using occult magic and demons to aid them in their war. Ganji based this claim on pieces of paper collected from the streets of Tehran, which he claimed had, quote, contaminating talismans with Jewish symbols. He said, hostile countries and Western and Hebrew intelligence services use occult sciences and jinn beings for espionage. Now, the jinn are, broadly speaking, supernatural beings in Islamic folklore. They are kind of like Christian angels and demons. They're capable of taking various forms. They can disguise themselves like animals or humans. They can favor a person, like providing wisdom and guidance, but they're also capable of possessing people and doing harm to them. In mythology, humans are made of earth and the jinn are made of a smokeless flame. Obviously, Ganges claims that the West and Israel are weaponizing folkloric creatures in their efforts is completely baseless. But there is a precedent for it. Literally demonizing your enemies in war is a very common tactic of propaganda, of course. As far back as the Crusades, Christian and Islamic leaders claimed that their enemies were worshiping Satan. They were in league with Satan, and that's why they had to be conquered and the land had to be taken back. During the Iranian Revolution in 1979, Ayatollah Khomeini used phrases Great Satan and Little Satan to refer to the US and Israel, respectively. Ganges' claims have been slammed in the media, and rightfully so, but he's serving as an advisor to the mayor of Tehran, which means he's still got way too big a platform to be shouting this shit from.
Do we know if the pamphlets that were dropped actually were dropped?
We don't know. He never provided them.
Okay.
So, given that, my guess would be no. Okay. But I honestly don't know. We don't have any evidence of these pamphlets with these Kabbalic symbols on them.
Okay. Talking about the etymology of it, Jinn, I learned, is an Arabic collective noun deriving from the Semitic root jan, which means to hide or to adapt.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And then it could be interpreted as beings that are concealed from the senses. So, and it goes on to talk about a lot of things. This is from Wikipedia. But I really enjoy learning about the origins of words. And it's interesting because it just has so many origins. Like there are so many words connected to this like root word, like jhana, and it means garden, and it's all like, I don't know, there's just so many, like janin is embryo, and there's just so many connections with this root. And so that's what's interesting to me. That's the most interesting thing to me in this whole thing, because I don't know, anybody can claim anything they want that happened during any conflict, and that doesn't mean that I don't know, it could have happened. It could be real. I don't
think that they're weaponizing demons.
No, demons don't exist, but the pamphlets could have been dropped, or they couldn't have been. I mean, we don't know. Really.
I mean, there is a precedent to drop pamphlets like that or something as a form of psychological warfare as well. Mm-hmm. You know, that happened all over Vietnam. Mm-hmm. You know, they were weaponizing that type of propaganda against the Americans when the Americans were in Vietnam. So sure, like maybe, I think it's very suspect that we haven't seen any of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so next, there is a strange new object headed our way, and it just might be of extraterrestrial origin. And if it is, it could be signaling a pending invasion before the end of the year.
Wait, what?
Or maybe not. Oh yeah, I didn't send you that. This is like, so this news has been breaking as we were getting ready to record this. Oh. And so there's a new ripple in all of this that you didn't get to see, but I'll talk to you about this when we get there. Okay. Yeah. So in early July, the European Space Agency reported that there's a new interstellar object that was in Jupiter's orbit and was headed for Mars. They estimate that it will arrive near the sun around October. They're calling it 3I/Atlas, which is kind of a shitty name, but is better than the original name, A11P13Z.
Bad password.
Now, of course, because we're talking about interstellar objects, Avi Loeb has to weigh in. We discussed him before. He's the Harvard professor who studied Oumuamua, the 2017 interstellar object, and he also organized a totally legitimate scientific expedition to Papua New Guinea in search for meteorite fragments.
Again, we need to get to Scotland for a vacation. An investigation into Loch Ness.
Exactly.
If any of our listeners would like to fund this vacation, research project, please let us know.
So, Loeb believes that Atlas, we'll call it Atlas, could be a probe sent by an extraterrestrial civilization. And he bases this on the retrograde orbital plane of the object, and now we're starting to get into territory where, I'm not an astrophysicist, but if I understand this correctly, he is saying that because it's traveling at a high speed and within close proximity to Earth, it's possibly sent by aliens to inspect our planet. Which seems to me to kind of be backwards thinking. It's kind of like saying that because you found an empty can of Coke in our yard, it was put there intentionally for you to find. Just because Atlas is traveling through our solar system and because a theoretical interstellar probe might also travel through our solar system does not mean that Atlas is an interstellar probe. Now, the other thing that Loeb has talked about is that when you deal with these interstellar objects, and I think other scientists have talked about this too, actually, but when you deal with these interstellar objects, because they're coming from outside our solar system, there's a greater chance that there might be some type of matter on them that would provide a biosignature for life. And I think that that is a really cool possibility because, it's hard for us to send things far enough away and then get that data back. It's kind of impossible for us to do that in any reasonable time frame. So when these things come in, and they come in, obviously they're moving very fast, it would be really cool if we could check them out, see if there's anything there. I always use the comparison like an alien candy bar wrapper. Mm-hmm. If there was alien junk or litter on it, that would tell us something. But also, it could just be, DNA samples or something like that on these objects. This might be our greatest chance of finding out if there is life in another solar system. That's the more down-to-earth, realistic explanation of why this is so cool, I think. Now, in addition to all of this, there have been people saying that if this is an interstellar probe, and it is arriving in October, and when I say arriving, I mean buzzing Earth. When it is buzzing Earth in October, it may be a probe checking out the Earth to prepare for invasion.
Okay, and this is the breaking news.
This is the breaking news. Okay. This is as of like a day ago.
So what's the evidence to suggest that there is an invasion nigh?
Evidence? What are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
No, and this is the problem. This is the problem when it comes to a lot of this stuff, because people see something like this in Interstellar. You see that word interstellar, mm-hmm. Then you go to probe, then you go to, well, why would, I think it's trying to justify, why would you send a probe? Well, why would you send a probe? Probably because you're going to invade.
So this new headline is really just speculation. It's more speculation on whose part, who came up with this idea.
It was Avi Loeb. Avi Loeb said if his theory is correct and this is a probe, that it could possibly be a probe signaling an attack, and we should think about defensive measures.
Mm. At this point, I welcome an alien attack. I just want to talk briefly about one thing that is in the original article. The retrograde orbital plane of Atlas, I'm just going to call it Atlas, around the sun lies within 5 degrees of that of Earth. The likelihood of that, for that coincidence out of all random orientations, is 0.2%.
Right. This is why he thinks it's a probe, is because the likelihood of that orbit is very low.
Okay. So I did a little bit of research into that claim,
Okay.
and there is a selection bias that exists in that claim. In the context of Atlas and other ISOs or interstellar objects, random orientation, refers to the assumption that the orbital plane of such an object, specifically the direction from which it enters the solar system, is uniformly distributed across all possible directions in 3D space. If ISOs truly have random orientation, then finding one aligned with Earth's orbital plane is very unlikely, like he said.
Okay.
So that is technically true.
Okay.
But detection is not uniform. Observational limitations make us more likely to spot objects that approach near the ecliptic, move at certain speeds or brightness levels, and are visible from Earth's position and survey instruments. So even if objects are not randomly distributed, the ones that we detect may appear to be oddly aligned due to selection bias. And I just want to note one more last thing is the Malmquist bias. And it's an effect in observational astronomy which leads to the preferential detection of intrinsically bright objects.
Oh, of course, right? Because we're never going to detect darker objects because we literally can't see them.
Right. So there's a bit of a selection bias in this. So it's just something to look out for when we are looking at these articles. And because he's smart in that technically there's truth to what he's saying.
Lobe, you mean?
Yeah. But it takes an extra bit of digging to realize that what he's saying has some selection biases built into it.
Yeah. And this has kind of been the ongoing problem with Avi Loeb. You know, I appreciate what he does, but Avi Loeb tends to be that person who jumps on the idea that the possibility that it could be of alien origin and just run with that as far as he can take the thought experiment instead of being a little bit more nuanced and realistic. And because of that, he ends up in a lot of headlines. You know, they're more sensational, they get more clicks, and of course more clicks is what news is about these days. And so then we end up in this situation where we're having headlines like prepare for alien invasion in November, right? So yeah, but that you bring up a really, really good point in that if we assume that all of the interstellar objects that are coming into our solar system are detectable in exactly the same way, like if we could detect them no matter what they looked like, then the statistical likelihood is very low. But we can only detect the ones that we can detect, right?
For a few reasons, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like saying you can't... It's the assumption that there aren't that many insects out there because we just don't see that many when we're walking through the woods. But there's a lot, you just don't see them.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, like you can spend a whole day out in Manhattan encountering hundreds and hundreds of people, and maybe you see a rat, you see some flies, you see some stuff, but mostly you see hundreds and hundreds of people. That there are billions more insects. There are way more insects on the earth than there are people. But on any given day, you're probably going to see more people, unless you're a insect
Entomologist?
or entomologist. Yeah, I was going to say those people that kill bugs. Pest control person.
Yeah, guess
Okay,
so. Yeah. I mean, also, and in your example, you're even biasing yourself further because you're in New York as opposed to in, you know, the Washington Cascade Mountains or Yellowstone National Park or something like that.
True.
You know.
True.
Yeah, but you can only observe what's observable. And we are limited by our ability to detect. And that's an important, very, very important, very astute point to make about this. Yes. Well, anyway, I mean, let's all just keep checking the skies just in case. Yeah, it's scheduled to buzz Earth on October 30th. So,
Ooh, Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just aliens looking for a good Halloween party.
Nice.
What do you think aliens dress up as for Halloween? Do they dress up as humans?
Yeah, probably. We're pretty scary.
I'm hoping to see an alien dressed as Avi Loeb.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Or Annabelle.
Annabelle would be good. Yeah. That's really scary too.
Yeah. And in overblown headline news, the Daily Mail, the Daily Mail, reported that a massive fire broke out at Area 51 on the 4th of July. So immediately you think, well, aliens had too many fireworks, right? Mm-hmm. Too many fireworks to celebrate the 4th of July. But actually, the fire was 15 miles away, and the cause was a lightning-sparked wildfire.
Not some dummy with fireworks.
Not we don't think so, anyway.
Wow, that's a really rare event. That's weirder than aliens.
Area 51, of course, is the mysterious government base that allegedly contains alien bodies and the remains of recovered UFOs. Probably the most famous thanks to the claims of Bob Lazar. Lazar claimed that he had been contracted by the U.S. government to work on reverse engineering a flying saucer in the mysterious and top-secret Area 51 facility. The truth is that Area 51, also called the Groom Lake facility, was a testing site for classified aircrafts, and this happened throughout the world, really from the 50s through the 80s. The most famous of these crafts was probably the Lockheed A-12 Oxcart, a very early stealth reconnaissance craft. Their experiments in engineering into drone and missile technology paved the way for much of the aeronautics advancements we have today, and probably a lot that is still classified. Bob Lazar himself has a history of making stuff up, like his transcripts and the positions that he worked at. He graduated in the bottom third of his class and enrolled in Pierce Junior College in Los Angeles before declaring bankruptcy. We have these transcripts, but Lazar claims that he got advanced degrees from MIT and Caltech. No one, including professors, have ever confirmed Lazar's presence even on the campuses. Even longtime UFO believer Stanton Friedman said, quite obviously, if one can go to MIT, one doesn't go to Pierce. Lazar was at Pierce at the very same time he was supposedly at MIT, more than 2,500 miles away. And the funny thing about Lazar is that when he declared bankruptcy, he had to also turn in a whole bunch of receipts and things and basically give over his entire financial history, because that's what you do when you declare bankruptcy. So we have a total record of his life, and none of it connects him to Area 51 in any meaningful way.
Or MIT, probably.
No, not at all.
You got to pay for MIT, unless you're on scholarship.
Yeah, but you would still pay for, like, probably room and board. You would pay for sandwiches. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yes, and then also professors would have him enrolled, and there would be
there was actually
records.
one professor that he named as somebody who he claimed he learned under at MIT, but the name of that professor was actually somebody who worked at Pierce.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, I mean, still, because of him and because of this fascination with UFOs in the late 80s, early 90s, and I think also kind of thanks to like the X-Files, Area 51 became this huge, exciting conspiracy theory where allegedly, I mean, supposedly that's one of the places that they took the bodies after Roswell. It's either Area 51 or Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, depending on who you talk to. So, as with much of UFO history, the reality of Area 51 is that the U.S. government used aliens and extraterrestrial crafts as a smokescreen to obfuscate the development of work being done on advanced aerospace engineering projects. There were no aliens at Area 51. And by the way, little known fact, many of the non-disclosure and confidentiality agreements have expired. They expired, I think, in 2007, 2009. So employees of these bases have come forward to talk about their experiences there. And there were no aliens, just heaps of highly classified aircraft development. But it was fascinating, too, because I was reading through some of the experiences of the people, and they said, because everything had to be so hush-hush, they didn't want people leaving the base for things, and they gave them a lot of shit kind of not exactly to keep them quiet, but just to keep them happy there. So they had chefs on staff 24 hours a day who would just make you whatever food you wanted.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is morale right there.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Security guards were paid like $100,000 a year.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, Area 51. I mean, it would be a fascinating thing to really do a deep dive into at some point, like the real history of Area 51, because what was going on there was fascinating, and none of it had anything to do with aliens.
Oh, wow.
But like life on the base must have been really interesting.
Oh, man, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
I would have been well fed.
Yeah, and that was the kind of stuff that they provided for you. You could just get whatever you wanted when you wanted it, because they didn't want you leaving the base. They didn't want so much of the early development. They didn't even want people to know that there was a base there. So you couldn't have military personnel and researchers, engineers and stuff just pouring into nearby towns and like getting tore up and then spilling secrets and shit, right?
Oh my God, right.
Yeah.
Loose lips, crash ships. Say that.
Sink ships.
Yeah, but it's crash ships because we're talking about Area 51.
Yeah, loose lips crash UFOs. Loose lips crash saucers.
Loose lips crash saucers. Ooh, I said it.
In a way, I think it's fitting that the Daily Mail gave Area 51 another brick in the wall of conspiracy theory. The base isn't on fire, and the fire's miles away, but like so much of the reporting on this place, the conspiracy is so much juicier if you just fudge those details like just a little bit, you know? Oh my God, Area 51's on fire. What experiments were they doing?
The best way to get people suspicious about you and what you're doing is to light a government base on fire. Do you think these people are that stupid? Like, they're really smart. If anything, they would be doing exactly what they're doing now and absolutely nothing. Like, quiet, nothing, declassify things. Like, I'm not saying there are aliens there. I'm just saying, like, that's how you draw lots of suspicion.
Right.
These people are not dumb. They're not going to do that. They're not going to light their base on fire, guys.
I don't know. Area 51, it's a really fascinating piece of U.S. history, though, because it defines so much of how we deal with government conspiracy today. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it, I think, was a lot of it was opportunity that very intelligent people used to distract from what was really going on there. Mm-hmm. And they at least let those alien conspiracies build because it was very useful for them. I have a whole very deep theory that is still built. It's still in its infancy stage, but it involves the fact that we might have actually weaponized the logic and the methods of magicians thanks to the MK Ultra program and Stargate, and used the way that magicians use patter and misdirection, applied that to our bases, applied that to aliens, and that's why Area 51 became this hub for aliens. And I think that there might have been really intelligent people there, but that is a developing theory that I will be talking about a little bit later.
I like that theory. Mm-hmm. And I wish so badly that you were friends with Nathan Fielder, because I feel like you guys would love this idea together, because he's a magician too, and he connects things so well. I just feel like you guys would have fun talking about it.
Season 3 of The Rehearsal, me and Nathan Fielder at Area 51.
Yes, please.
That's when you get all of season 3, and then the last episode, he's like, so I applied for a job as a janitor at Area 51 2 years ago. Yeah. He's been working there.
Oh, man.
Nathan Fielder, if you want to collaborate, slayingmonsterspodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
And well, we have a breaking story sent in by our on location correspondent, Katie. Katie shared this with us just now over Instagram, so I think we should talk about it. But a very quick story: a man in Kansas filmed a really weird swirling black circle in the sky. This man, his name is Frankie Cameron, and he was riding his Harley Davidson motorcycle home through Bonner Springs when he noticed this thing just hovering over the trees, and it's really crazy. It is not an exact circle, but it's like a loop, a ring of what looks like smoke, and as he watches it, it dissolves into the air.
It's really suspicious and strange. I
Yeah.
could not come up with an explanation at all.
Yeah, it's one of those things that when you see it, you're immediately like, that has to be CGI
Yeah.
or AI of
Yeah.
some kind. Like this is too strange to be a natural phenomena. But if it is, it's like I don't know why he would do it. It's really well done, and he did not seem like the type of person who was a After Effects motion graphics expert,
Yeah.
It's really wild and completely bizarre, but apparently these kinds of things can result from blown transformers. So my Reddit sleuthing found a video from a 2010 transformer explosion in Wicker Park, Chicago that shows basically an identical ring. It just has a little sort of orange glow to it, yellow-orange glow to it as well. But it's exactly the same thing. It's this ring of smoke that appears over the transformer, hangs out for only a couple of minutes, and then just dissipates.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
That's all that it is.
Not a UFO, not a mysterious smoke monster, but an incredible capture nonetheless. And it's wild because it gets me thinking, some of these things, if they're only there for a couple of minutes and you don't have time to get your phone out and film it, whatever, like he saw it as he was driving down the road. I mean, that could absolutely be UFOs. You would report that as a UFO. You'd be like, what is this weird thing in the sky? It almost seemed like it might be the outline of something and the inside was transparent.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, something oval like that definitely made me think it could be a ship of some kind.
Right.
Or drone of some kind. Like, I don't know.
Sure.
It was really strange.
Right.
But there is a logical explanation, and
Yeah.
it's a cool little side story there. Yeah.
Yeah, I know when Immaculate Constellation, that report came out, and they were going through all the classification of the different types of UAPs that they would see. They had a classification. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but a classification for things that were amorphous, that sort of seemed to move through different configurations, and then things that were what they called transmedium, where they moved from one type of medium to another. And this seems exactly like that,
Yeah. When you say medium, do you mean like, for example, moving from liquid to solid?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, or entering, leaving water, something like that. But an amorphous object like that, 100%.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it could have just been a blown transformer. And I mean, it wasn't that hard for me to find other evidence of it. So it's kind of scary, but it might be happening more than you think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So when this comes out, we will be just finishing up July, and we finished our Die Glocke series. So if you were waiting till the end to learn all of the juicy secrets about the Nazi superweapon and listen to us stumble over all kinds of German pronunciation, you can check that out. Our next series, we're going to be moving away from Europe, and we're going to do something that's really, really cool, really fun. It's going to be another big one, a lot of good history and a lot of good spooky shit. So.
And Katie will be back.
Oh yeah, and Katie will be back. Yeah, Katie will be back for that one. Yeah, I know. We'll keep it secret for now, but but definitely check it out. Something that's a lot of fun. Something I've wanted to do for quite some time. And if you have seen anything really cool in the news that you think we should talk about, or you just want to tell us that we mispronounced something, slayingmonsterspodcast@gmail.com. Always cool to check out your stories. Also, if you yourself saw something strange or you want us to read out your story on the podcast, slayingmonsterspodcast@gmail.com. As always, no judgment from us. We're not gonna read your story and then say blah blah blah. It must have been this, that, or the other thing. We just like to talk about it. I don't think that there's a big enough platform for people to just talk about this shit. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, that would be a judgment-free zone.
Absolutely.
We'll judge the Warrens and other people, but not you.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're not conning people. We won't judge you.
No tolerance for charlatans, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And if you're feeling generous, you can always head over to slayingmonsterspodcast.com, click on the support us button at the top of the page, and that'll take you to our site where you can leave a donation, or you can check out our merch on that same page, slayingmonsterspodcast.com. Click on the merch button, and we got some t-shirts. We got some water bottles, some coffee cups, and some cool stuff there if you want to show your support that way.
All right.
Thank you so much to everyone who does support the podcast. We really appreciate it.
Yes, we do. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for being along on this ride with us. And we will catch you very soon with a brand new series.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Be safe out there. Thanks for listening to Slaying Monsters, the Fortean History Podcast. If you like the podcast, there's a couple ways you can show your support. You can tell your friends, you can leave us a rating and review on your podcast platform, or you can head over to slayingmonsterspodcast.com and click on the Support Us button to leave a donation. For questions, suggestions, and other feedback, reach out to us, slayingmonsterspodcast@gmail.com, and stay up to date by following us on socials @slayingmonsterspodcast. Your support helps us grow, and we are truly grateful to have our listeners and community.